Imagine the vastness of the cosmos. Stars and planets moving along seemingly predetermined paths, each system following a rhythm that's felt but not seen. Now imagine your own mind, thoughts, memories, desires, dancing through patterns you might only barely perceive. Across time, mystical teachings and scientific discoveries alike have grappled with the link between these two realms, the cosmos and consciousness, the external and internal, the above and the below. In esoteric traditions, the Egyptian god Thoth spoke of a principle of correspondence, encapsulated by the phrase, "as above, so below." For Thoth, the underlying logic of this statement went beyond a poetic metaphor. It was an acknowledgement of interconnected truths, a literal mirroring, where the dynamics governing the universe find their analogues within our minds and bodies. As Thoth taught, that which is below corresponds to that which is above, suggesting that all levels of existence reflect and reinforce each other through shared resonant principles. Today, I'd like to present to you a framework grounded in this principle but illuminated by modern science. We'll examine two core scientific principles: the principle of least action, PLA, a foundational law in physics that governs the movement and evolution of all physical systems, and the free energy principle, FEP, a concept from biology and neuroscience that describes how living organisms maintain stability in complex, unpredictable environments. As we explore these theories, I invite you to see them not as isolated ideas, but as concrete reflections of the principle of correspondence. We'll explore how PLA and FEP express universal patterns through their specific applications in physics and biology, and how together they show that balance, adaptation, and survival emerge from a deeper shared logic across all of reality. Thoth's insights were, at their heart, about balance, the kind of balance that enables systems from atoms to thoughts to endure and evolve. And as we journey through these scientific principles, we'll see that minimizing variation, finding balance, isn't just a philosophical ideal. It's a literal law that binds everything above to everything below. To begin, let's explore the principle of least action, or PLA, a concept that guides the path of every object in our universe. Imagine the delicate movement of the planets orbiting the sun, or the seemingly effortless way a stone skips across water. Beneath these movements lies a fundamental principle, a rule that ensures every motion taken by every particle follows the most efficient path. This is what physicists call the path of least action, and it's this law that lies at the heart of all physical evolution. But what exactly is action? In physics, action represents a kind of cost associated with the path a system takes between 2 points. This cost combines kinetic and potential energy to describe the system's total energy distribution across time. The principle of least action states that of all possible paths a system might take, it follows the one that minimizes this action or makes it stationary. So an electron in an atom, a pebble falling to the ground, or even a beam of light traveling through space all take paths that optimize this cost. The PLA's simplicity is deceiving. Within this principle lies a universal order. By minimizing action, systems do not merely choose efficient paths, but actually sustain their internal balance by moving in harmony with the forces acting on them. And this principle operates universally, whether we're observing the path of a planet in orbit, the trajectory of a photon, or the fluctuations of quantum particles. Each of these follows PLA's mandate for efficiency, and each achieves a natural state of equilibrium. As Thoth might have observed, balance is the foundation of all movement, and all movement seeks balance. PLA operates through what we might call a triadic relationship of initial conditions, forces, and resulting paths. An object's initial state, the forces it encounters, and the action-minimizing path it ultimately follows create a triadic structure that preserves stability across change. Here, as above, points to a cosmic law where stability emerges from dynamic equilibrium. This triad keeps everything balanced, from the simplest subatomic particles to the grand scales of celestial orbits. In a way, PLA echoes Thoth's teachings about the inherent order in the cosmos. When we observe the planets, the tides, or even the dance of electrons, we see systems that maintain harmony by minimizing disturbance, by following a path that minimizes unnecessary action. Thoth would call this the cosmic rhythm, a law that, as he wrote, guides all things with a perfect balance. In PLA, we encounter this universal principle as a description of how physical systems relate. They avoid paths of excessive variation or waste, resulting in a stable, balanced state. And what's more, this principle doesn't only describe the world's external movements, it provides the groundwork for internal biological balance. It's as if the universe itself is structured to flow in harmony, each system reflecting a deeper cosmic balance that reduces variation and by doing so, sustains itself. By understanding PLA, we begin to see the above, the universe operating under a principle that values minimal deviation from balance, a cosmic echo of the very patterns that allow life itself to endure. And as we turn next to the free energy principle, we'll see that this concept of minimizing variation extends beyond the physical realm into the biological, allowing living systems to mirror the cosmos by finding their own internal balance. Now that we've seen how the principle of least action shapes the movement of everything from electrons to planets, let's bring this idea of balance closer to home, into the biological world, where living systems constantly adapt to an ever-changing environment. This brings us to the free energy principle, or FEP, a framework that captures how organisms, especially those with complex nervous systems, maintain stability not by following a predetermined path, but by continuously predicting and adapting to the unknown. Imagine waking up in a foreign city surrounded by unfamiliar sounds, signs, and faces. In these moments, your brain becomes a sophisticated prediction engine, using past experience to make sense of the new sensory input. According to the free energy principle, this drive to predict is fundamental to survival. The brain, along with every cell in the body, constantly works to minimize what's called free energy, a measure of the difference between what is expected and what is actually perceived, or in other words, prediction error. When the brain's predictions don't match up with reality, it experiences surprise, and every effort is made to reduce this discrepancy. The FEP, therefore, is about minimizing prediction error, adjusting the internal model to better fit sensory input and reduce surprise. This drive to minimize variation mirrors the principle of least action in a deeply meaningful way. In PLA, systems follow the path that minimizes physical action. In FEP, living organisms follow the path that minimizes perceptual error, maintaining balance by continually aligning expectations with reality. This allows the body and mind to sustain a stable state in the face of complex, changing environments. As Thoth might say, the temple within aligns with the truth without. Just as the PLA dictates that particles and planets minimize unnecessary action to achieve balance, the FEP states that living systems minimize surprise to preserve internal harmony. By this principle, the below, our bodies, our minds, our adaptive behaviors, mirrors the above by finding stability through minimization, not of physical action, but of cognitive and perceptual variation. To grasp the depth of this correspondence, let's examine the triadic pattern at work in the FEP. Here we find a triadic relationship between internal models, sensory input, and adaptive responses. The brain holds an expectation or prediction of sensory input, the internal model. It receives real-time input from the environment, sensory input, and it adapts to reduce the difference between the two, adaptive responses. This triad maintains a dynamic balance where each component responds to the other two, creating a self-organizing system that continually seeks equilibrium. If we view this through the lens of Thoth's principle of correspondence, we see that the harmony of above is reflected within us in complex adaptive patterns. The FEP allows the mind to mimic the cosmic flow, where minimizing variation becomes not only a survival tactic, but an echo of universal order, just as the cosmos balances forces and follows efficient paths. The mind seeks efficient, predictive harmony, bringing our internal world into alignment with the external world. Moreover, Thoth's triadic teachings speak to this kind of balance directly. All is balance. Where there is disharmony, there is change, and where there is harmony, there is stillness. In the context of FEP, the brain actively reduces the chaos of prediction error to maintain an internal stillness or stability in the face of an unpredictable world. This balancing act, like the PLA, does not eliminate movement, but rather directs it toward a path of minimized variation, reflecting a harmony that resists disorder. In fact, the free energy principle suggests that our very perceptions, thoughts, and actions emerge as solutions to prediction errors, mirroring the balance that PLA achieves in physical systems. And just as planets orbit in harmony with gravitational forces, our bodies and minds adapt in harmony with sensory feedback. FEP doesn't just help us survive, it roots us within a greater cosmic pattern, reflecting how everything below adapts to mirror everything above. By embodying this dynamic triad, the FEP gives living systems a way to find balance within change, capturing Thoth's teachings at the biological level. In the measure of all things is the balance, and in balance there is strength. The balance achieved through a FEP isn't static, it's a fluid stability where prediction and adaptation are ongoing processes that allow us to stay connected to the world around us. Together, the PLA and FEP reveal a correspondence that aligns cosmic and biological order. The principle of least action shapes the physical paths of the above, while the free energy principle organizes the below through adaptive, perceptual stability. Just as the universe sustains balance by minimizing action, our minds and bodies maintain harmony by minimizing cognitive variation. This connection is more than a metaphor, it's a literal reflection of universal order that permeates all levels of existence, affirming that as above, so below describes a tangible, interconnected reality. Now that we've explored the principle of least action as it applies to the cosmos and the free energy principle as it applies to living systems, we arrive at Thoth's triadic teachings. Thoth emphasized that everything from the grandest stars to the smallest thoughts follows the logic of a triad, a three-part harmony that unites balance, transformation, and order at every level of existence. In his words, all things are connected through a trinity of forces. Each part supports the others in harmony, each completing the whole. For Thoth, this triadic pattern is not just a structural idea, but a living principle, a means through which systems maintain stability by balancing three interconnected elements. We see this triadic principle manifested physically in the principle of least action. Forces, states, and paths combine to define a system's evolution. And in the free energy principle, we observe a triadic relationship between internal models, sensory input, and adaptive responses, which maintain stability in living systems. Each of these triads reflects Thoth's understanding that every system depends on the balanced interaction of three interwoven parts to sustain itself. But the power of Thoth's triadic teachings extends beyond these physical and biological systems. The triad, as a universal pattern, provides a model for conscious thought itself, offering a way for the mind to reflect and replicate the balance of the above within its internal world. By viewing consciousness through Thoth's triadic lens, we gain a new understanding of how abstract thought operates as a dynamic system that mirrors the structures of the cosmos. In conscious thought, the triadic structure emerges as knowledge, perception, and understanding. This triad parallels the dynamics we see in physical and biological systems, but here it operates on an abstract level, shaping how the mind interacts with ideas, experiences, and insights. In this mental triad, knowledge acts as the mind's internal model, a repository of what we know, believe, or assume to be true. Perception provides fresh sensory or experiential input, challenging or confirming our knowledge. Understanding arises as the mind reconciles knowledge and perception, synthesizing them into insights, judgments, or decisions. This triadic relationship mirrors the process of adaptation in biological systems, where the mind minimizes discrepancies between what it knows and what it perceives, creating new understanding. Just as the free energy principle allows living systems to maintain balance by minimizing prediction error, the mind achieves cognitive balance by refining its understanding through the constant interplay of knowledge and perception. In Thoth's terms, the mind is a mirror of the heavens, meaning that thought itself reflects the structures and principles found in nature. Just as the principle of least action and free energy principle show how physical and biological systems achieve balance, the triadic structure of consciousness enables the mind to create and refine patterns that maintain stability in the abstract realm. Through this process, the mind not only reflects the world, but actively shapes it, participating in the cosmic balance that Thoth described as the unity behind all things. By interpreting conscious thought as a triadic system, we begin to see how it aligns with the principle of correspondence. Thought, knowledge, and perception aren't separate components but elements of a balanced whole, dynamically interdependent and self-sustaining. This triadic structure, as Thoth taught, represents an archetype, a universal form that guides the way systems evolve, adapt, and endure. As he said, in the unity of three is the strength of one, describing how triadic systems contain a balance that allows for both stability and transformation. The triadic model doesn't only allow the mind to make sense of the world around it, it also enables self-reflection, a quality that deepens the mind's capacity to engage with these universal principles. Consciousness can recognize itself as part of this greater triadic system, where each thought, perception, or insight follows the same patterns found in nature. In this way, the mind mirrors the structure of the universe itself, able to grasp and reflect upon the laws governing the cosmos. This model of self-reflective consciousness is what allows us to apply the principle of correspondence to our inner world. Through understanding triadic patterns, the mind can adopt the cosmic principles of balance, unity, and adaptation within its own processes. Each triadic interaction, knowledge influencing perception, perception reshaping understanding, understanding expanding knowledge, reflects a cycle of refinement that Thoth saw as the core of wisdom. By structuring our thoughts through this triadic pattern, we don't only learn to adapt to the world, but to engage in a conscious balancing process that echoes cosmic harmony. This is Thoth's legacy, a framework through which the mind can emulate the laws above, manifesting them below as we organize our thoughts, balance our perceptions, and cultivate understanding. As we've journeyed through the principle of least action, the free energy principle, and the triadic teachings of Thoth, we've witnessed how a singular logic of balance underpins the entire structure of existence. These three levels, the cosmic, the biological, and the abstract, are interconnected layers, each reflecting and reinforcing the others, forming a unity that spans from the deepest workings of the cosmos to the dynamics of conscious thought. To conclude, let's reflect on these three levels and the profound implications they reveal about the interconnected nature of reality. At the most fundamental level, the principle of least action shows us how the universe itself maintains a dynamic equilibrium. Every movement, from the orbit of a planet to the oscillation of a photon, reflects a choice of minimal action, creating a harmony among forces and energies. This cosmic efficiency isn't simply about avoiding waste. It's the universe's way of maintaining stability and order across vast distances and timescales. By following paths of minimized action, every particle and planet aligns with an invisible structure that unites them in a cosmic balance. This level of reality highlights a deeply universal order, where complexity is born from simplicity, and stability arises from minimizing unnecessary variation. The principle of least action doesn't merely govern physical laws, it reveals the universe as a coherent, balanced whole, an entity that sustains itself through a profound respect for equilibrium. When we look at the stars or watch a falling leaf, we are witnessing the cosmic above, where the triadic balance of forces, initial conditions, and resulting paths perpetuates a harmony that binds all things. Descending from the cosmos to life itself, we encounter the free energy principle, where the balance achieved in physical systems finds a more complex, self-regulating form. Biological systems don't just exist within an ordered cosmos, they adapt to it, continuously minimizing surprise and reducing prediction error to maintain internal stability. In this way, organisms don't just survive, they actively create models of the world, predict what they'll encounter, and adjust their actions to reduce discrepancies between expectation and reality. This principle embodies the below in Thoth's teaching, where the body and mind become mirrors of the cosmic balance above. Just as celestial objects follow paths of minimized action, biological systems follow paths that minimize cognitive and perceptual variation. Life then becomes a dynamic dance of adaptation, a constant interaction between internal models and the external environment, perpetuating balance in a world that's inherently unpredictable. Through FEP, we see that every moment of life reflects a connection to the universal order. Organisms maintain harmony not by brute survival alone, but by echoing the universe's principle of minimizing unnecessary disturbance. Finally, in the abstract realm of consciousness, Thoth's triadic model offers a profound way to understand the nature of thought itself. Just as PLA and FF describe the physical and biological realms, the triadic structure of conscious thought reveals how the mind processes, organizes, and integrates experience. Consciousness, as Thoth might say, mimics the temple of truth by using a triadic pattern to achieve clarity and harmony. In abstract thought, the interplay of perception, interpretation, and integration mirrors the triadic structures found in physics and biology. Our minds use this structure to minimize cognitive dissonance, creating balance between what we perceive, what we believe, and how we act. This triadic process allows the mind to align with universal principles, echoing the cosmos's harmony in our thoughts, beliefs, and insights. When Thoth teaches, "By harmony is the way found, and through balance does one know the truth," he points to the very function of conscious thought, which synthesizes information through triads to reach stable, coherent understandings. This process is not isolated from the physical or biological world. It's the mind's own version of action minimization, allowing consciousness to adapt, evolve, and perceive a stable world even amid the unknown. Through triadic thinking, the mind doesn't just reflect reality, it resonates with it, harmonizing itself with the patterns that govern the cosmos and life. In observing these three levels, we uncover a profound realization. The principles that sustain the cosmos are the very principles that sustain us. Each level, above in the physical world, below in the body, and within in the mind, is bound together by a shared pattern of balance-seeking, action-minimizing principles. This unity is more than a philosophical concept. It's an observable structure of reality, a literal as above, so below, that operates from the subatomic to the cosmic, from cellular to conscious. The implications of this are far-reaching. Understanding that balance through triadic structures exists at every level invites us to see ourselves not as separate from the universe, but as part of its unified logic. Each decision we make, every adaptation, and each conscious thought participates in this larger cosmic balance. By adopting a triadic model of thought, consciousness aligns itself with the principles governing both life and the universe. This approach to thought, where perception, interpretation, and integration form a stable triad, suggests that the mind can access deeper truths by organizing itself in resonance with universal principles. Thoth's teaching that harmony is the way takes on new meaning. It's not only a guide for personal balance, but a description of how to align with the fundamental patterns that govern all things. Living in harmony with these principles doesn't just benefit the individual. It reinforces our interconnected role within a larger, balanced cosmos. When we consider the principle of least action, the free energy principle, and Thoth's triadic teachings together, we see a universal architecture that binds everything through a shared principle of balance. Each level of existence becomes a microcosm of the whole, reflecting and reinforcing the others. To understand as above, so below, is to see that reality itself is a network of interdependent systems, each minimizing variation to sustain harmony, each mirroring and supporting the others. In our daily lives, this understanding reminds us that harmony, adaptability, and clarity aren't just personal virtues. They are the way of the universe itself. To live in balance is to participate in a cosmic order that sustains everything. When we look to the stars or to the core of our own minds, we are, in essence, gazing into the same underlying truth. And in embracing this unity, we align ourselves with the very fabric of existence, creating a life that mirrors the balance and harmony of the cosmos.